Welcome to HEB Park in Edinburgh, Texas, where the RGV FC Toros collide with the Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Hello, everyone. Ari Shannock along with former Virginia Tech Hokie Morgan Conkling. And Morgan, this is the second of 3 meetings between these two clubs. In the first match back in cooler temperatures on April 7th up in Colorado Springs, it was the Switchbacks coming away with a 2-1 victory.
And with two teams that are very strong defensively, it took until the 63rd minute for the first goal of the game. Colorado Springs with the first two, a foul in the box on Donovan allows for Burt to step up, and he just buries this PK. But RGV on the other end is able to respond. They were able to. Quintanilla almost leveled it up with a goal in the 80th minute. And RGV is a team that they've scored 7 of their 17 goals in the final 15 minutes of a game. So that just shows two defensively strong teams and an RGV team that plays into that final whistle.
They are on a good roll, this Toro team. They are unbeaten in their last 5 matches.
When you look at the teams that they've faced, some of them towards the bottom of the table, but they get a result against a number 2 in the West team with Phoenix Rising, and then a result on the road at St. Louis, a result against Las Vegas. Not many wins on the season, just their 2nd win of the season, but they're a team that has proven that they're difficult to score against. And I think that's where they start. They're defensively sound, and then they just build from there.
And they do have some work to do. You can see RGVFC with 17 points, a number of games in hand, though, and they can move up this ladder.
And when you look at Colorado Springs, they are in a spot where they're very much so in the mix, but they don't have many games on the backside of the season. So it becomes so important for them to get a result each game. And with RGV, I kept mentioning it, how strong they are defensively. So for where they are in the rankings or in the standings, it's not much to worry about because they're a difficult team to play against. So if they can sneak goals in and steal points when they can, there's time for them to really catch back up because they have a lot more games to play.
Well, this is a big match in the Western Conference standings. Both teams trying to move up the ladder. RGV FC Toros and the Colorado Springs Switchbacks coming up from HEB Park. Welcome back, everybody, to the southernmost tip of South Texas, the Rio Grande Valley here in Edinburgh, Texas, HEB Park, where the Toros are getting set to take on the Switchbacks. And we'll take a look at the RGV starting 11.
When we look at the lineups for both teams, there's a good amount of changes. For RGV, you see Jorginho James, he gets his 5th start of the season in that center midfield role. He'll drop a little deeper. He'll sit in front of that back 4, be the destroyer, the defensive midfielder, and kind of just clear everything out of the midfield. You'll see Perea and Wharton step above him. Sheldon Sullivan steps in at left back. And then you see Jordan Jones up top. He as well gets his 5th start of the season. They'll look for him to be a target and see how those other players can work off of him.
Michael Nelson back in goal, the #1 pick from the Dynamo. For the Switchbacks, this is how they will set up.
And they're coming off a midweek game, a tough one in San Antonio. They lost that one 1-0, and they have a good amount of changes as well. AJ Ajekwa was red carded in that game, so you will not see him tonight. But Moise Poitier as well gets to start. That's a change for them in goalkeeper, but my eyes go to Josh Suggs. We saw him score in the first matchup between these two. He's good on the ball, good on set pieces. How does he lead this team, a Colorado team who's only won 2 games on the road? How do they get a result, and how do those veteran players step up for this team?
RGV, they are coached, of course, by Gerson Echeverry. Good-looking coach there in his first season. He was the head coach at Seton Hall for 5 seasons. Also assistant coach for the U.S. Soccer Federation under-17 youth national team under current Dynamo coach Wilmer Cabrera. And for Colorado Springs, of course, Steve Tritschu. This is an important stat here.
Yeah, both teams are 2 of the lowest teams on the totem pole when you look at goals against. Rio Grande Valley and Colorado Springs are tied for the 3rd least amount of goals in the league. When you look at them and where they are, these are 2 teams that are so strong defensively. A lot of that comes from the coaching staff. That is what they're asking for, organization in the back to pressure as a team. So when you look, it's so interesting seeing just where they are and maybe not exactly where they want to be, especially when you look at RGV, but they're hard to score against.
Yeah, terrific defenses, great goalkeeping. We're getting to Coach Steve Tritschu, who was the first head coach in club history as we are underway here. Coach Tritschu, boy, what a background he has. Competed in the 1988 Seoul Olympics. He was started on the 1990 U.S. national team in the World Cup in Italy, and played 7 seasons in the MLS. And Coach Echeverry, he could play also. This is a good look at Steve. He is in the Hall of Fame at Seton Hall. 3rd in program history with 32 assists and 6th in goals with 41. Here we go. There's the ref, Arturo Ibarra, tonight. Colorado Springs trying to move it across midfield. They push to the perimeter. And this is Martin Mabin, 3 goals on the season. Sam Hamilton, who joined the club for this one, is number 17. Kai Green pushes it forward. But only a white shirt there in the corner is the captain, Josh Suggs.
You can already see the tempo that both teams are playing with. It's high press and working as a team, though, defensively, but also when they get the ball, they're keeping it moving. Both teams working off the ball to find those spaces, find those pockets. Sometimes we can see teams take a while to kind of find that rhythm, and it looks like both came out with that.
In goal is Michael Nelson, 6'4", 180-pounder out of Katy, Texas. He was the 24th overall selection in this year's Super Draft by the Houston Dynamo. And in the net tonight for the Toros. Here come the Switchbacks. That pass nearly got through. It headed away and lifted ahead. Hit upfield by Todd Wharton. Coach Echeverry will play it back. Well, it's only 96 out there, Morgan, and it feels like 105. But look at the difference. They played at Colorado Springs on April 7th.
I think they both like that weather from the first matchup a little bit better. It's unbelievable how hot it is, but when you look at the game plan, RGV is more used to playing in this type of weather, and the movement of the ball becomes that much more important. You want the ball to do the work. You want to do the little steps off the ball so the passes are quicker, the passes find the space, because it's hard to work and have that high work rate when it's that hot.
There's a long ball and a battle here in the box. Will end up being a corner kick. Great work upfield by Jordan Jones. Jordan was the 47th overall pick by LAFC this year. Played at Oregon State University. And going to take the corner is Todd Wharton. Wharton, who has 2 assists, 2 goals. What a passer he is. His passing accuracy is 88%. He tees this one up. In swinger, into the box. Punched up in the air by Plotty. Moise Plotty, 6'4", 195-pound goalkeeper out of Cameroon. Has 20 saves, has faced 26 shots this season. Plays on the Cameroon national team. Led the Western Conference and set a new club record with 97 saves last season. We've got a couple of terrific goalkeepers here tonight, Morgan. A good look at Plotty. The edge of the box. Now high point. Perea to the perimeter. Here's Perea. He launches a strike right at the goalie. Now that was Jorginho James, I should say, as he was not shy. Jorginho with a goal this season in his third season with the Toros. And a hit ahead, open. There's a strike. And maybe getting a piece of that, Morgan, was the defender.
One of the things that Jordan Jones brings, you just saw it, and we saw it early on, is his pace. He likes to get in behind. So if that ball can be slipped in between the center backs, Jones is going to be on top of it. And he wants to shoot. He wants to look at frame. It's such a good asset to have. He's able to slip in behind, gets it on his left foot. It cuts his angle away from frame, though. So he closes down the angle he has, so he's off target.
Yeah, Jordan, an assist this season. Giving chase. Good work by Martin Maben. He is a good one. Maben, number 9, member of the Switchbacks inaugural 2015 squad. As the whistle will hold that play up. Martin out of Belfast, Northern Ireland. We're approaching the 7th minute early on. Good competitive early moments for both teams. Good crowd on hand at the beautiful HEB Park. RGV, they've been tough here at home. They've only lost once all season here on their home pitch. They're 2-1. They do have the 8 draws here on their home field. There's Perea. Here come the Switchbacks on the attack with Robinson. Robinson to the perimeter. Suggs, the captain. Suggs turning to his right. Now wheels back, surveying. Beautiful pass. Had Robinson the strike, and very precariously there. Nobody home for the Switchbacks to knock that in.
That is such a dangerous cross. The way it comes all the way across the face of goal. But look at that little extra touch from Schweitzer just to get it through to allow Robinson the space to get in front. Switchbacks not happy with that one. They had 2 players right in front of goal and someone on the backside. RGV was fortunate there. Those are moments that cannot happen defensively. You have to be tighter. Have to get a player to at least be able to step up and clear it.
Yeah, Jordy Bird, he came sliding in a moment after that ball had cleared. Burt was looking for what would have been his 7th goal. First corner kick of the night will be taken by Josh Suggs, the captain out of Las Cruces, New Mexico. Couple of goals, both with his left foot. In swinger, in the box, headed away. Up high to clear that out was RGV. That's James. Jorginho getting up high.
That's the presence that he brings in the box. He's one of those players that is going to challenge. He has the frame to do so. 6'2", he's a big body, but he's also hungry for the ball, likes to attack it, likes to find when he can clear that out. And he's just the player that gets the first touch. Behind him, Nelson would have been able to get there, but it was a safer bet just for James to clear that one out. James,
the Jamaican, outswinger, headed up and tipped over the crossbar by the lengthy Michael Nelson. He used all 6'4" of his long frame to save that one.
This is a great ball sent in from Suggs. Good connection, even having to step back from Jack, but that's saved from Nelson. He's able to stretch, get there. The reactions, that was so quick. And like you said, uses his long frame. Well done from Nelson, because that's good connection coming from Jamal Jack.
Now Jamal Jack looking for his second goal. What a season he's had, and this will be the third consecutive corner. As we'll go back to the other side for Suggs. He'll in-swing this one. Low liner punched out of there. The strike and over the crossbar. That one, it looked like it had beat Nelson, but sailed high. And what a strike that was. Booted in, but beautiful ball in by Suggs.
Nelson is so quick off his line, but they find Aguilar just sleeping. He's not waiting there for Schweitzer. He needs to expect that that ball is going to drop right to the top of the box. He's forced to respond, but at that point, Schweitzer already puts a nice look on frame.
And the foul will go on Schweitzer, the University of Denver product. They kick it around. Here's Connor Donovan. Connor out of North Carolina State. Goal and assist this season. 65 clearances, 16 blocks. And a foul will go against the Toros. Well, let's look at this save by Nelson.
He is so quick off his line, not afraid to push through players. But then on the other end, the connection from Schweitzer, that's what I was saying. If Aguilar just responds to that and steps to Schweitzer, he's able to block that shot, but he responds too late. Nelson so far has been called upon a couple times and has done a really good job and has proven to this team, once again, that how strong he is in the back. And for RGV, I mean, defensively, looking at where they are in the standings, being in 15th, yet only having 21 goals against and only having 6 losses. You want to, yes, it's easy to focus on only having 2 wins, but this team has only been beaten and dropped points 6 times over the course of the season. That's impressive, and it's because of their back line, because of their team defending, and because of the goalkeeping.
And Nelson came into the action with 9 saves. He had faced 9 shots, 2 clean sheets. Playing with that second touch, then clears it out. But getting back to RGV, 17 goals on the season. They are last in the USL, Morgan. But they're 239 shots. They're right in the middle of the pack with shots.
And it's easy to see that offensively things haven't completely clicked for them. But the defense is there, and that's such a good foundation to build off of, because if you just let goals in and have trouble scoring, you're not going to win. But at least if you're difficult to beat, you force other teams to do something special to take points.
And they've only been beaten once on their home field. Switchbacks come in 8-10-4, 4 draws, 28 points. Here comes the attack for OGV. The strike, oh, almost got a foot on it. Diving to get a piece, coming in, flying in, was Cabrera.
Aguilar does so well stepping into the space. He mishits it. It's not a clean touch. There's a player following up, but if Aguilar can keep that ball a touch or two longer and actually go centrally towards goal, he'll have more of an angle.
What number is he?
And that was Wilmar Cabrera, who almost got a piece. It's diving at that one. Nelson getting a piece to punch it out. Here's Suggs. Suggs to his right, pokes it in. Ooh, left it off the heel, but intercepted by the Toros. Oh, good to see Wilmar Cabrera out there. Cabrera, of course, the son of the Dynamo head coach. Just 17 years old, Morgan. Unbelievable what he has accomplished. He had 17 goals and 22 appearances as the 2017 MVP at IMG Academy. And he's going to be a good one. Coach Echeverry says the kid is so calm and composed. He can't believe that he's 17.
There's a couple really strong young players in this league, and I think it's so cool to watch them just grow as players and see what happens. But when you look at some of the players and the composure, that's the biggest thing. I look at some of these players and think of how I was when I was 17. There's no way I could be playing at a high level as a professional or playing against professionals. So it's so impressive to see some of these young players hold their own and have so much success at this level.
As Coach Tritchu looking on, his team hoping for a road victory here today, but it won't be easy. The Toros have only dropped one game at home this season. Colorado Springs spreading the field, and there's a whistle and offsides.
Ari, just hearing some of the things that you're mentioning with RGV only dropping one game at home, RGV only having 6 losses, Colorado Springs having 11 losses. Just hearing these things, it's so crazy to think of where RGV is in the standings, because they've almost built this fortress that's difficult to come into at HEB and difficult to get 3 points. Maybe teams can get 1, but teams aren't making huge jumps in the standings when they come to HEB Park.
You could hear Coach Echeverry saying, move the ball, guys. Keep it moving, and that's what Kai Green does. Here's Donovan surveying. Chips it forward. A little double coverage. And headed away. Lands on the foot of Wharton. This is Perea. Perea has been one of the bright spots, says Coach Echeverry. Nicholas has been terrific. 15 key passes, 82% passing accuracy. One of those players that Coach Echeverry didn't know how much he would get out of, and he has gotten quite a bit and more out of Nicholas Perea. Maneuvering in circles here, Saeed Robinson. And that one handled easily by Michael Nelson. Long ball will be played by Puati. In the 17th minute, we are scoreless. To be expected, Morgan. We thought it would be a defensive battle, and it has been. A couple of good opportunities, though, particularly for the Switchbacks. Long ball skims off of the head of Suggs.
Ari, you've seen the ideas with what each team wants to do. We've definitely seen the defensive presence from both sides. But last game, it took until midway through the second half to see the first goal on the board. I'm not surprised that we don't see any early goals, but I am impressed with the ideas that we've seen and the basics for what these teams do well.
Couple of takeaways for both teams. Suggs near side. This is Robinson. The Jamaican has some space. Inside out move is denied and cleared out by Kai Green. Green out of Orange, New Jersey. 3rd season here with RGV. He played for Coach Echeverry at Seton Hall, so very familiar with Jerson. Another corner kick upcoming for the Switchbacks. Suggs lining it up again. Outswinger headed up. Second touch falls right in the lap. There's a strike, and it's wide left. Well, you could hear some of the bench from the Switchbacks screaming handball there. This is Saeed Robinson, who just had that last blast.
Another good service sent in. RGV is able to respond. Yes, it hit his hands. That's not a handball. He's on the ground, not even looking at where the ball is. But Robinson was aware, knew that the ball was still in play. He makes a really nice connection. He started this whole thing going 1v1 against Green. Takes his touch with his right foot.
Far post, headed outside of the box and kick forward. OGV looking for a counter, but not available. Puati. And the Switchbacks with possession. On the attack, that pass back to Hanlon didn't connect. Into the box, a strike, and just getting a piece. Again, Nelson with those long arms, Morgan, able to get a hand on that and deflect it.
That ball was going in if Nelson didn't touch that. It was finding that far post. Look at this entry ball in. It's a quick shot, a quick release. You're seeing Colorado Springs find momentum. They're having success with the quick entry ball. They're moving off, finding the little tiny pockets. But Michael Nelson has been huge for RGV because Colorado Springs is really putting that pressure on.
And yet another corner kick, diving header. Heads up play by Jones. Well, you can see why Michael Nelson was a 20th overall pick in this year's draft in the super draft by the Houston Dynamo. Suggs comes into Robinson. Here's Saeed. That pass got through somehow, run down by Maben. His cross is deflected. Collision here as they battle. Jordan Jones, very tenacious. That's Connor Donovan there in your screen. Both of those players terrific defensively for the FC Toros. Long throw in, headed up and right back to Nelson. See if OG collision and a foul call. That'll go on Jordy Burt. Oh, RGV trying to get something started here, ignite their offense. That's a clear foul there, Morgan.
Aguilar is frustrated. I don't know if he thought he was going to be able to stay up or just if that it's happened a couple times. But that entry pass, you see Wharton get on the ball. We haven't seen much from Todd Wharton. Usually he's pulling the string, setting up other players. But it's been happening a little deeper. You see James on the ball a little more than he normally does. So the attacking midfield area isn't on the ball in terms of passing. Maybe they're dribbling a little bit more, but there's not much distribution coming from that attacking central area.
Waddy puts it out. And the Toro fans hooting and hollering, hitting the drums. They've got a great fan base here at RGV. Kai Green trying to elude Jordy Burt. And Donovan will play it back to Nelson. RGV, their last match was a scoreless draw at Swope Park. That was last Sunday. But again, they are unbeaten in their last 5 matches. But this is the point of the season, Morgan, where you got to protect your home field. And if you're RGV, you definitely want to come away with some points here. 3 points.
They've shown that they can get a result, and a result meaning they can get points. They can get 1 point out of games, but if they're trying to make that run to the playoffs, which they are, they have to start working on the other side of the game. So the attacking side, putting the ball in the back of the net. Because they've proven defensively they're so strong, they're hard to score against, but that's just got to be the start. That can't just be what they rely on.
Perea giving chase. And it'll be a throw in for the RGV FC Toros. You got all ages of fans. What a great atmosphere this is, Morgan. Beautiful park, HEB Park, and terrific fans down here. This is one of the fastest growing areas in the U.S., the Rio Grande Valley. And they are making some noise here tonight. Colorado Springs, they lost 1-0 Wednesday night in San Antonio. So they did get a little bit accustomed to the hot temperatures, Morgan, Wednesday.
And it's difficult when you play those midweek games and you stay on the road. It's easier to stay on the road, but it's difficult to come back out for that game. We see a couple changes with Colorado Springs. They don't have AJ Ajekwa, with him being suspended after getting a red card towards the end of that game against San Antonio. But it's so difficult, whether or not it's hot, whether or not you're in tough conditions, no matter what, it's difficult on the body. But then when you add that in, it's even more so. But I've been impressed with what we've seen from Colorado Springs with what they've come off of.
Right. It doesn't look like they've been affected negatively by playing Wednesday night. Coach Tritsu was concerned. He said it'll be hot. We know that. It's also a big field here and a hostile environment. Very good home team is RGV. But his team has come well prepared. No surprise. Here comes RGV. Can they mount an attack here? Aguilar. And they play it back to Perea. Here's Green. High point, it's Connor Donovan. Middle of the field, inching forward, edge of the box. There's the cross that didn't get through, Morgan.
That's one of the first times we've really seen outside backs with RGV get involved. Sullivan gets forward on that left side. We've seen Kai Green get forward as well, but it takes them a bit to get wide. Use that space. You mentioned how big this field is. It is. Use it. They should be used to that. And if they can stretch Colorado Springs horizontally before going vertically, it just opens up those little pockets and it helps them find the seams.
And look at the skills here of Cabrera. Well, what a player he is going to be. Just 17 years old. Beautiful passing. Wharton, tip of the box. It was taken away. Intercepted by Suggs. Cabrera got a foot on it. Weaving through traffic, Schweitzer pushes it to the perimeter. And caught from behind. Good job by Perea. Perea out of Columbia, played at Syracuse. There's Donovan. Kai Green, again, looking for that lane to push forward, Morgan. The Switchbacks have clogged up any attack thus far. And is it the spacing, you think, Morgan, of the Toros right now that's lacking?
Well, it took a little bit, but we're finally seeing RGV move the ball. Coach Echeverry was asking that from his team, and we're finally seeing that. So you see Connor Donovan on the ball a little bit more because there's movement off of the ball, and they've been able to find little pockets. So this ball gets sent through. I think that's just a late slide. That's why that's called, but it's a good interchange. Cabrera gets on the ball. He takes a little step to open himself up. So by RGV finding the movement and just finding the areas and being able to move the ball around, it opens up other little pockets. The final piece, the final pass hasn't been there, but you're seeing them do the little things that they were asking and wanting to do earlier.
And here's the Guatemalan Aguilar. Has a goal, 21 key passes. And a free kick upcoming for Pablo. There's the strike right into the wall, and white shirts only. Aguilar, 59th overall selection by the Dynamo this season. He played in 3 preseason games with the Dynamo. Aguilar was part of the University of Virginia 2014 NCAA National Championship team. And I know you don't want to hear about that, the former Hokie sitting next to me.
No, they were good. I mean, they had a couple of these RGV players on that team.
And great battle here. Cabrera, his cross is picked up and intercepted by Plotty.
I love that final slip ball that you see Cabrera try to play in, but Puati's coming off his line, and the way the ball is spinning, it allows for an easy catch. That's one that you actually want to swing away from the goalkeeper with your right foot. That means using the inside to really pop it out away from the goalkeeper. But I love the vision that you see from Cabrera. You see the little movements that he makes, or the little slip final balls. That's just going to get even better as he progresses.
Yeah, he's an effortless mover, isn't he? He just makes things look easy. He's such a skilled player already at 17. Coming out of IMG Academy, Morgan, what do you know about the competition that he's facing compared to what he is seeing here in the USL?
Well, there's nothing quite like playing at this level up into that age. But at the same time, for where he was and where he was age-wise, it's the best of the best in the country. But this is still a challenge because you're playing against bigger players, older players, professionals who have played at this level for a longer time. So this would be his biggest test as of yet, but you're seeing him do the little things right. And that's what the biggest thing is that he's able to do these little things. It was a nice slip on from Perea, and he keeps challenging, uses his body, not the biggest player, but still uses that frame, and he knows that he has a player getting forward. He sees it. Maybe it's not the best delivery, but the idea is there.
And here come the switchbacks. We are scoreless in the 30th minute. Robinson, his cross headed up and out of play. It'll be a goal kick. Robinson, Suggs, they have been playmakers early, giving the switchbacks a couple of very good looks. And Michael Nelson up to the task. That's a good look at Cabrera. He looks 17, doesn't he? He's not one of those kids that could pass for 25. Young looking, youthful. But you're right, he on that previous play you saw on the replay, he used his physique and his body, able to guard off the bigger, stronger physique.
And that's impressive in its own right, but it's also just the vision to see a player and trust that the player is going to continue his run. The service wasn't connected, but a lot of players miss that. They don't see the player coming in with their peripherals almost, seeing it on that left side and knowing that if that ball slipped in, it's a tough decision for the goalkeeper to make.
As Cabrera pokes it out, Wharton tried to keep it in bounds. A little frustrated is RGV. Coach Trichu urging his players on. It's been a battle. These two teams competing, no doubt. Playing hard in their second meeting of the season. These two teams will meet again back in Colorado Springs for the final time this season on September 15th. Coming way out and sliding to pick it up was Nelson. Again, heat index here tonight around 105. You figured that'll be an advantage for RGV. Suggs has been efficient. Ian Robinson working here this near side. Suggs has it again. Looking to get the cross off, serves it up, but it'll float into the side of the net.
Colorado Springs has been really good when they're able to pick off RGV and go quickly in transition. You see the movement off the ball, that little one touch back out wide to Suggs as he gets forward. Doesn't get the cross off, but those little movements and then having an outside back join into the attack, numbers-wise, it's difficult to defend that, especially when you're coming from an attacking position since RGV lost possession.
Suggs, quite a year he's having. 57 key passes he comes into the action tonight with. Unbelievable.
Well, you just see how involved he is all over the field, obviously as a defender playing that left back role, but especially in the attack. He likes to get forward. He likes to create. He's on the ball, especially on corners. You see him on set pieces. So he's such an important part of this team, and he adds a lot and adds a different element getting forward. Because you see a lot of outside backs, when they get forward, it opens the game up, but especially an outside back on the left side. And if he's solid with his left foot, it just adds an extra element to the game, and that service is so dangerous.
And giving chase, that will roll out of bounds. So a corner kick, so Suggs will be back at it. He's had numerous corners here this first half. 4 assists, 57 key passes, 31 tackles won. He does it all for this team. The captain in his 3rd season here with the Switchbacks. And there's Michael Nelson. He is ready. To the far post, headed down on the ground. Second touch and another one deflected up high in the air, still in play. And it'll result in another corner kick. Terrific action there, right in front of the net.
Nelson is able to own his box, and I don't know if it's a miscommunication thing or just a reaction thing, but RGV defensively is doing a nice job of getting a touch, but Nelson's the better option for some of those. He's right behind James, and James is the one that touches it to keep the ball in play.
Second touch, headed out. Yeah, Jorginho James has been active, no question. Easy handle for Michael Nelson on the short hop. Oh, Michael talked about what great experience this is. He's with the Dynamo. He got, first round pick, 20th overall this season, but the ability to come down here to Edinburgh and play for Rio Grande Valley and get this game experience, he said, is phenomenal. He also talked about the relationship between the players with the Dynamo and the Toros and how close everybody is, and lines of communication were open.
And one of the most important things for a young player, no matter what level they're at or where they came from when they get to this league, is just playing time. They have to play to adjust to the level, to adjust to the professional game. It's just so important to get those minutes because that's when you see growth in players.
Well, James tried to thread that needle. That deflected right back to Schweitzer. Schweitzer has an 85% passing accuracy. So he can put it right on his teammate's foot.
He's been so strong going forward, creating, but also he's an outlet. And he knows the body positioning is key for him. He's there to help his team out, but he's also sending in those entry passes. And I've been impressed with the movement from Colorado Springs and just the little work off the ball. It just takes 1 or 2 steps where you open up your body or maybe open up a little gap, and it makes the biggest difference. And that's what I see with Colorado Springs. They're doing the little things to make the buildup that much easier.
Wharton plays it back to Donovan. Donovan near side. He's got Green to his right. Floats it down the middle. Cabrera settles it, and then a whistle and an offsides.
That's a frustrating offside because the ball held up. It was floated in the air. Cabrera gets there, and the timing looked like it was on, but it was a nice buildup, and then the final pass, and you have the runner coming in. So that's when that RGV, if they can do that again, that one can be on, because if Cabrera gets that touch, he can either take it wide or hold it and have a player come under him to then create.
Yeah. Waddy under duress. And this is Karsten Hanlon. And it's Suggs. He's got a head of steam. His pass handled by Nelson.
You see the trouble that Suggs getting forward causes RGV, because Kai Green as a right back doesn't step up all the way because Suggs is floating in between the RGV midfielders and the RGV back line. So it forces Todd Wharton to track from the central area. Yes, he's in the midfield line, but he's central. So it forces him to pop wide and track Suggs. Then Kai Green just has to drop and wait for Suggs to get close to him. So by an outside back getting forward, if he can just keep sitting in between the midfield and defensive line for RGV, it forces them to account for him. And usually he can find himself open because neither line is really stepping.
Long ball by Kyle Adams. And here they come. James. To his right, a strike, and that will roll to the right of the goal as Aguilar had a good strike at it.
Aguilar's a player that tends to find himself near frame, but a little far out, yet he's not afraid to shoot. It's a nice ball sent in from Perea. James gets a touch that brings it back to Aguilar. He loves to keep his head down and take a touch or two and then look on frame. Not a strong shot, doesn't connect as cleanly as he would want to, but he's a player that if the ball pops out and is about 5 to 10 yards outside the box, he's going to look to hit on frame.
Yeah, he's not afraid. 15 shots, 5 on target. He's got a goal this season. 21 key passes for Pablo. He's been a creator for this offense for Coach Echeverry. Now, Kyle Adams has been pretty busy back there, along with Connor Donovan. And here they come. Broken up, deflected back, couple players down, no whistle. Advantage and a diving play by Plotty. But 2 defenders were down, Morgan. No whistle was blown. Huge advantage for RGV there.
When that ball was played in, Cabrera's first couple touches were unbelievable. He takes his touch and cuts off his defender. It's sent in, and then he's on the dribble. Little slip pass into James. 2 Colorado Springs players just completely collide with one another. Their heads are down. They don't see each other. Puati's able to step up for his team because at that point it's a bit of a broken play and everybody's all around. I think Jorginho James taking that touch forced Cabrera off the ball through, so it didn't allow for the advantage that RGV would have. But those 2 Colorado Springs defenders did not see one another. They're looking to track the ball and just collided.
And I think the RGV players were almost surprised that that play wasn't stopped, and it was JJ Tomby getting back and maybe getting a piece of that shot, Morgan, or at least disrupting it and giving Puati a play.
Well, and what he did was he got in the way of James, so James felt that he needed to get a touch to look on frame. But you see right here, the first touch from Cabrera completely cuts off Schweitzer, but then tracking back, it's Jack, and then coming over on the other side, another defender from Colorado Springs. But the touch from James, he hits it, and it allows a little bit of an extra beat for Tomby to get back and put that pressure on Cabrera.
And that is Jamal Jack getting up slowly. An integral piece of this switchback team. Leads the team in clearances with 128, blocks 23. He has 59 aerial duels won. And Jamal Jack, that's a player that the switchbacks can ill afford to lose. Hopefully Jamal's okay. Now look at that physique. Looks like he could play in the NFL, huh? Oh, we're in the 42nd minute in a scoreless match. And right in front, but the whistle blows. Nelson still got a hold of that ball.
That run from Burt was on. It was when the ball was sent in, it was a little extra touch before the pass was played, which is what slowed it down, and then Burt was offside. He kept his run going, but that's such a dangerous ball. It takes 3 RGV players out of the equation. Burt is slipping in behind, and a midfielder is tracking him. Aguilar is the player tracking Burt there because the center backs were caught high, and the ball beat both of them.
Yeah, Burt, the leading goal scorer for the Switchbacks, was 6. He had one of the 2 goals in the first meeting between these 2 teams. It was Burt and Suggs scoring. It was Quintanilla scoring in that first match, or RGB. Sliding tackle there, and getting up slowly is Donovan. Well, Donovan and Kyle Adams have been busy in that back line, as has Jorginho James. James in the center of the field. Here's Adams out of New Zealand. New Zealand Youth International Team, under 20 and under 17. And then played over at San Diego State University.
One thing that we've seen with RGV is the interchanging of the midfield players. We've seen Aguilar push a little higher, and then Pereira at times drop deeper. For the most part, you've seen Jones stay high, Jordan Jones stay high, and then Cabrera is also working off him. So Cabrera's normally been high, but he's floating. He wants to find the ball, which I love seeing that, especially from a young player. He wants to be on the ball and he wants to create, whether for himself or for his teammates.
Yeah, he's got great sense out there, doesn't he? With the game and space and He plays like a coach's son.
Yeah, well, and also you see the timing of the way he does things. Already floating, now he's dropping in the midfield. He sees it's not on, opens his body up, but then drops out of the play. He's always checking his shoulder. If you watch Cabrera, now he's getting forward, but he's always looking over his shoulder to see if there's space or to see if he has a player on him.
And Poiti will handle this one. Moise really hasn't been challenged here tonight. He moves so fluidly back there, though. Very quick laterally. He's a good one. Again, led the Western Conference and set a new club record last season with 97 saves. The Cameroon national team goalkeeper. It'll be tough to score here tonight with these two terrific goalkeepers. Great defenses.
We're seeing exactly what we expected coming into this game. Two teams difficult to score on. RGV not the strongest at scoring, only 17 goals for in the whole season. And then Colorado Springs, they have 25 goals for. So they're a team that creates a little bit more. And we've seen them have the better chances. We've seen their normal players who set things up. We've seen them pull the strings. Suggs gets involved on that left side. And we've seen a lot from him tonight.
Here's Burt. Jordy's out of Elkhart, Indiana. Proving that not everybody in Indiana plays hoops. A little soccer going on in the Hoosier State also. There's a good look at didn't get the strike off. What a sliding tackle that was for RGV by Sullivan. Now Sheldon Sullivan, Stafford, Virginia. Another high draft pick and a young kid. Morgan drafts at 66th overall by the Dynamo this season out of University of Virginia.
This Houston Dynamo RGV hybrid affiliate club has a lot of players that come out of Virginia. But one thing that we've seen tonight in this game, Colorado Springs creating a lot of opportunities, but solid defending from RGV.
Oh, yeah.
Sullivan shuts that one down. We've seen Kai Green close some spaces as well. Players not afraid to get into tackles, which is showing that RGV as a team defends well, but also when it comes time individually to step up, they're not afraid to, or at least to mess up the attacker, so it's not a clean look.
Yep. We're in 2 minutes of stoppage here at the close of the first half. RGV trying to get an attack mounted before the teams head to the locker room. They've got about 40 seconds to do so. Turning back, Perea. Good fight there by Cabrera. Aguilar to his left, quick move is cut off and ridden away again. Tomby's having a good game. This is a product of the Houston Dynamo Academy, J.J. Tomby, out of Cameroon. Will they have time for one last attack? It doesn't look like it, as that's hit away from Sheldon Sullivan. And the whistles blow, and that will close our first half. And a lot what we expected. Morgan Nelson came up big with a number of saves as he applauds the crowd behind the goal. Nelson, along with Poiti, pitching a shutout after 1/2 of play. That is our score at the half. Rio Grande Valley and Colorado Springs 0-0 at the half. Welcome back to HEB Park in Edinburgh, Texas. RGV and Colorado Springs matching up for the second time this season, and this is where both of these teams stand in the Western Conference.
And we saw this coming into the game, but you look at Colorado Springs, this game and result is so important for them coming up, not having too many games in the month of August. If they can get 3 points, they put themselves in a good position to kind of ride out the month of August, because that's when you really see teams make their jump into the postseason. And with RGV, they have more games to play coming up, especially in the month of August. Looking at them, it's 2 big road trips. That's a far distance to have to travel. Going to Vegas, playing at Sacramento, they're able to come home, but then they have to go back out to California. So if they can get a result at night, it's so important to take care of those home games, because they're going to have to go back out and then have to try to fight on the road.
Yeah, 4 out of their next 5 away from home. And Colorado Springs, this is what you pointed out, Morgan. This is why tonight's match is so important. This is their August.
Yeah, and if you look at some of the games, they have to go to Tulsa, which shouldn't be too difficult of a game just based on looking at standings with them in 17th place, but then having to play at Phoenix and following that up against Real Monarchs, you're facing the top 2 teams in the Western Conference back-to-back, just 4 days apart. So that's a tough stretch for them as well. But I mean, this point in the season, all points are important. All games are important. And like I said, looking at RGV, you have to take care of those games at home because it's so difficult to play on the road, especially as you get closer to the playoff race.
And 3 out of 5 on the road as well for the Switchbacks. We are at the break here at beautiful HEB Park. RGV and Colorado Springs.
Schreiber, and it's 1-0 Richmond.
That didn't come off very well. This ball headed in. Important save by McIntosh.
Fury going forward again. Here's a left foot drive and another shot.
Sliding across in front. Header is down and it's kicked away. Herrera, 2 great saves. Oh my gosh, 3.
And for Herrera, has some time and space. Lets it fly. That is sensational from Herrera. Lots of traffic in there. Gets lost. Oh, how about myself? Wow. Ward, near post. Oh, what a finish by Charlie Ward.
And will take the shot, and Perino, an important parry with his right hand.
Ramos Godoy cutting onto his right and strikes, and it goes in.
Go with the right foot, and he's stopped. Isley finding a Watson with a strike, and it's number 10 on the year. Chance here for Pittsburgh. Into Brad.
Oh, what a save again.
And it will be Salgado to strike, and he puts it in the back of the net.
Brian Obi working on fines. Obi, it's off the crossbar.
Moreno with the shot, and he beats McGuire.
Gian, first time, Becker down low, and Goita down low as well with the save.
Lautrec sends some service in, taken off the chest by Greg, who strikes and scores. In on goal, Callie Brown off of his line. Prater denied by Brown.
Shot from distance, Tambakis with the paw, with the save.
Lopez onside, good ball, Cheto Guzman, almost rolling in. San Antonio FC on top, 3-1.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We are at the HEB Park in Edinburgh. RGV, FC Toros, and the Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Let's take a look at the USL goal and saves of the week.
Knock, I think if Cam can really take things to the next level. Isley finding Owasso with a strike, and it's number 10 on the year. What do you know? Kevin Goldthwait, as Iwasa now has an incredible incredible strike and the game's first goal.
For a young fellow, but he does a very good job and he's very technical.
Lopez onside, good ball, Cheno Guzman!
Minutes, but going down to 10 was just a bridge too far.
Fury going forward again. Here's a left-footed drive, and what a shot that is to make it 2-0 Ottawa Fury FC. A left-footed strike.
Behind Foster. In for Herrera. Has some time and space. Lets it fly. That is sensational from Herrera. He's got 10 on the season now. He's one behind.
And Schreiber! And it's 1-0 Richmond.
Great finish from behind Schreiber. He's done it again from a similar spot.
Lots of traffic in there. Gets lost. Oh, how about Mizell? He has made some wicked saves tonight.
Oh, point blank shot right there.
Lee, maybe a chance here for Pittsburgh. Into break.
Oh, what a save again.
Kuzminski. Shot from distance. Tambakis with the pull, with the save.
Oh, what a save from Tambakis here.
Looked like training ground stuff that didn't come off very well. This ball headed in. Important save by McIntosh. Kendall McIntosh with a massive save there. How good is that? Unbelievable save.
Routland, Texas. Sending it across in front. Header is down and it's kicked away. Herrera, 2 great saves.
Great save there. Tremendous save there. An unbelievable punch away.
And here's our top goal-scoring duo. They have been outstanding, Morgan.
And when you look at these two players, they're hot as of late. They've scored recently. Guerra on July 21st and Voltson the 18th with Orange County. They're both chasing last year's winner, Dane Kelly. Granted, he's not in the league this year full-time, but he had 18 goals on the year in 2017. So they're on a good streak right now. But also behind them, the race is really close. 4 players tied for third with 10 goals. You have Cameron Lancaster, Rios, Herrera, Owasa. So it's a tight race. We're seeing these two because they're leading, but there's not much space for them. They have to keep going. I mean, it's always fun to watch, especially as it comes to the end.
Yeah, talk about fun to watch. Guerra is a highlight film. We are at the half. We'll have the start of the second half coming up from HEB Park. Hey, welcome back. There's our score at the half. Some tremendous food trucks here. HEB Park, always a good time. The crowd loves it in hot temperatures. We are scoreless, but plenty of highlights in the first half, Morgan.
A lot of which started on that left side for Colorado Springs. Suggs setting stuff up. I love that little slip ball sent in from Schweitzer that gets through all the way to the extra touch by Robinson. How does that ball get all the way past? First off, for Colorado Springs, how do they not touch it? But also RGV defensively, all the defenders are on the wrong side of their attackers. They're not goal side. Once again, this led to about 3 corners back-to-back from Colorado Springs. Asked a lot of Michael Nelson to step up and to react to get this ball out. Suggs, the service was always on. He had players working off the ball. That one, Jamal Jack, made a good connection on the header. Nelson with the big save. And then another time, quick off his line, he punches it But Aguilar isn't there to close down Schweitzer, so he's able to get a look on frame, able to connect pretty well, hits it off target. But it's the reaction and the marking from RGV was a little off at the beginning. It got better as the game went on.
And for RGV, they've had a couple of chances right there. Very close.
Aguilar getting for it on the dribble. He penetrates towards that back line, but he takes his dribble away from the goal, so he's off with his angle. It gets closed down, but then you see Cabrera there trying to follow up. Doesn't get the touch to go. Colorado Springs was really good responding on the other end, and they had the little passes that would open up the pockets. This is such a great ball slipped through to Burt. He gets the quick touch off, can't get the shot to go. Once again, a tight angle. Just the little one touches from Colorado Springs. Working, they bring the ball central, pop it back out, and then Burt keeps his run going, and he gets a look on frame.
Another terrific save there by Michael Nelson, who has yet to concede a goal in the USL.
Once again, another strong service sent in from Suggs. And this was one when Nelson was there 3 times, each time covering, ready to get the ball. His defenders step in front, which just allowed the ball to stay in play. Colorado Springs was hungry on the other side, kept teeing it up, looking to go on frame. But Nelson was there, and whether or not, even though he didn't get the touch, he was still there and ready to make the save. This was one of the better opportunities, though, for RGV. Cabrera set it up with his first touch. He cuts off his defender. The ball gets built up. A collision from 2 Colorado Springs players, and RGV can't get the final ball to go. But you just see what Cabrera is able to set up. His work on the ball, and then also his movement off the ball. Touches it, keeps his run going. He wants the ball played in his path. It just doesn't come through cleanly.
Tomby made a great defensive play to scamper back and put a halt to that threat. Interesting stat here, goals conceded, and there are 2 teams in this mix.
And they also kind of look like outliers. I mean, looking at where these teams are in the standings, 15th and 9th, they're on this list with other playoff teams. All of these teams are in playoffs, right. The worst of which, before the 2 of them, being 5th place. So these are 2 teams that are in the mix defensively. They do the right things on the defensive side of the ball. They make it easy, they make it difficult to get points against them, but both sides need to do a little bit more offensively. We've seen enough from Colorado Springs tonight. They've been dangerous. How does RGV capitalize on what they've created? They've had moments offensively that they've been able to build off that defensive presence, but how do they get things going? Because if they can maintain this defensive presence, get better on the attacking side of the ball, they won't be in 15th place anymore. They'll be able to move up.
And here's our stats. You can see the shots pretty even. Possession time, surprisingly, in a large favor for the Toros.
That's very surprising.
Yeah.
I really didn't expect to see that. They have been on the ball a lot, especially we saw it say about midway to a little after midway through the first half. They started to move the ball more. So they're moving on and off the ball, which opened up more pockets. But for Colorado Springs, they've had better opportunities. They're doing a lot more with that smaller possession.
Colorado Springs looking for the road victory. The Toros, remember, unbeaten in their last 5 matches. So the home crowd, the owner of the Toros there, RGV FC, looking for their 3rd victory of the season. They all come here on their home pitch at HEB Park. Everybody having a great time here. They do a tremendous job. This facility is awesome, and great fan base. Hoping for some excitement here in the second half. We're about ready to go. Unbeaten in their last 5 matches. They're hoping to keep that streak alive and come away with a W. Coach Echeverry said they have to get 3 points at home. A winnable match here against a good Colorado Springs team. And a yellow card will go against RGV. Serve to Kai Green.
That's a hard tackle. It's a 50-50 ball the way that it's sent in, but Green goes in with that left foot and just takes out his player coming forward. That's a tough one. Green is fast enough, and they're really timed at the same moment, which is why the collision is so bad. But this gives Colorado Springs an opportunity. They're not in a bad position based on where the foul happened, They're good on set pieces, have good service. So this is a moment RGV, they had trouble marking early in the first half. How do they adjust to that right now?
We're at HEB Park here in Edinburgh. Heat index around 105 at game time. Suggs off the free kick, plays it low, and it's headed away. Collected here. His cross is deflected out. This is Robinson. And Tomby. Giving chase is Cabrera. Just underway here in the second stanza. Tomby's had an impressive game. And Suggs leading the attack down the center of the field. That ball got away from James. And here's Maben, his cross right in, deflected, second touch. Put it back for a teammate. And a strike, and is blocked at the defense before it got to Nelson. I believe that was Adams. And that sent over the goal, but terrific action by the Switchbacks.
Unbelievable 1v1 defending and responses from RGV. But this ball was sent in from Suggs after an incredible first touch. Had so much pace that Sullivan wasn't able to clear it. This is a sick ball slipped in. Great job from Adams to close the space. Yet the ball still stays in play. Maben sends a beautiful ball back. And that connection from Suggs is unbelievable. The save on the other end from Nelson is incredible as well. Just that whole sequence, the attacking was top notch. But the defensive response was unbelievable from RGV, because that was that whole sequence could have ended in a goal from Colorado Springs on 2 occasions.
Yeah, tremendous play. It is 0-0, but we have seen plenty of action. That was an onslaught.
When that all started, the ball was played all the way across to the left side. Josh Suggs had the cleanest first touch that put the ball in front of him to allow him to see the whole field and to play make from left back.
That ball goes out for a goal kick. Let's take one more look at this action here in on the net of RGV.
Suggs gets forward and does exactly what you ask from an outside back. He sends a beautiful penetrating ball centrally. It then finds its way wide. Maben gets forward. Adams is able to close it down, and he sends the ball back where it needs to go, the top of the 18 on a diagonal. So when the player coming through misses, you have someone else behind, which once again was Suggs. And then he's able to get forward and connect. But before that whole thing happened, his first touch was so clean, right on the carpet in front of him, and he didn't have to waste time trying to clean up for it.
Yeah, Suggs has been outstanding here tonight. The captain for the Switchbacks. Well, Kyle Adams coming up huge in that sequence. A number of blocks and clearances, and here they come again. Martin Maben. Taken away by Kai Green, who was served a yellow card moments ago. And here's Perea. Nicholas scampering forward. Ball through Cabrera. Cabrera to his right and was hit from behind. He looks to the official and gets no call, Morgan.
I don't know what Jerson Echeverry says at halftime, but RGV is always a different team coming out. The movement that they have, Perea works off the ball and sends in such a nice little slip ball. Cabrera is in behind, does a nice job once again. His first touch cuts off his defender, so he's in centrally, looks to bend that ball. It didn't matter as he was a touch behind the defender when it was played. But RGV, just this movement that we've seen, if they came out from the first whistle, the start of the game, and played the way that we've seen in the first 5 minutes, defensively strong, stopping 1v1, defensively, stopping those opportunities, and just the movement, they would be in such a different position, especially on the attacking end.
Now that was Taylor Hunter, who looked like he got a piece of the back leg. That's what Wilmer Cabrera looked to the official about, Morgan. But Hunter came back and put the pressure on and may have saved a goal.
And Hunter, a player who was with RGV last year, Taylor Hunter, a big part of that back line. So he's playing in an area that he's very familiar.
He made 43 appearances with the Toros last season. And we have a couple players down, and now a whistle. Hunter was drafted by the Houston Dynamo in 2015. Having a quality year for the Switchbacks. 116 duels won. Look at that collision.
Sorry, that looked a little worse than it was. Perea started to go toward the ball and then backed up. He knew that Schweitzer was behind him, but used his body just to stop. And at that point, Schweitzer's momentum really forces him into Perea. So it's definitely a foul, but that looked at first glance at normal pace the way it happened. That looked a lot worse than it actually was.
Now Perea's got the yellow card. Hand over his face in dismay, but 2 yellow cards served already this half to the RGV FC Toros. 1 to Green and now 1 to Nicholas Perea. So a free kick upcoming for Colorado Springs, who have in 9th place. They sit 1 point behind Portland and Fresno for that coveted 8th spot in the Western Conference standings. Well, Potty handles that ball and finds Hunter. There's Adams. Kyle Adams has been very active here in the second half. Here they come. Jones to his left, had it knocked away. J.J. Tomby numerous times has come up big for his team.
You're seeing RGV finally use the field. You mentioned earlier in the first half how big this field is and how other teams coming in, visiting teams, have to adjust to that. RGV had to adjust to it in the first half, and that shouldn't happen because this is their home field. But right now we're seeing them come out of half and be able to take advantage of that space, which is why we're seeing better passing, because there's more space. There's better angles because players are just taking the extra few touches to open up those lanes for their teammates.
Now, Coach Echeverry very proud of his team in this 5-match unbeaten streak. So happy with the guys, their work, their attitude, and the players are gaining confidence and creating many more chances. Now they just have to find the back of the net, Morgan. That's been the challenge. Quintanilla will enter the game shortly. It was Aldo who did put the ball in the back of the net in the first meeting between these two teams up at Colorado Springs. And Quintanilla has 4 goals, 3 assists on the season, as he will replace Jordan Jones momentarily. And Coach Trittschuh of Colorado Springs giving this team props as well. He's saying it's a RGV team, a good young team with a lot of good players. They compete and dynamic on the attack, and he's impressed with their movement when he's watched them play. And that's what we've seen here in the second half thus far.
And it's one thing that you may miss when you just look at their record. You may see that they only have 2 wins, but look at the games that they've been able to get points out of.
Right.
And it's a team, an RGV team, that is young, and sometimes that happens, but it's a team that when they're confident, they play so much better.
So there's Jones departing to high fives. Jordan Jones' night is done. Aldo Quintanilla trying to spark, maybe ignite this offense. He's a leading goal scorer with 4 this season, and here he is. Nice little burst of speed right out of the gate.
I like the insertion of Quintanilla because he's a player that starts a lot for this team, but also brings a spark. And by bringing him in the 56th minute, you're not using him as a normal sub where you maybe make the subs about 65, 70, 75. You're giving him enough time to make an impact. So it's not that he's really limited in what he can do in those minutes. He now has 35 minutes to be able to make an impact in this game and kind of find his way first off into the game. How can he feel it out? How can he find out where he can be best against Colorado Springs? And it allows him the time to do so.
Quintanilla, local product out of Laredo, Texas. That ball picked off. Hanlon. Here comes Robinson. His pass nearly gets through. Coming out to slide and protect it was Nelson, taking no chances. Kyle Adams was in pursuit. You could hear Coach Echeverry screaming, not happy with that lapse there, Morgan.
But Nelson is so quick and he's able to help his team out. The ball that has been slipped through, splitting the center backs or splitting a center back and an outside back of RGV, Colorado Springs has found that a couple times. And when it's not just finding it, it's they find it and play it, and then they have runners that are able to find the space in behind. So those are moments you hear Jerson yelling at his team that can't happen because Colorado Springs has been really dangerous. They're lucky that they've had Nelson clean that up.
There's Robinson again. From distance there, trying to launch. Broken up by Adams again. And Toro's trying to get something started. Aguilar. Perea pushes to the perimeter. Center of the field, they work. Again, Tombo able to clear it. Inside out, and left-handed foot shot was blocked off of Cabrera. In traffic. Bodies down. Quintanilla working hard. Switchback player is down. That appears to be Schweitzer.
RGV gets caught here. They had a couple opportunities to get forward. They lose the ball. Quintanilla is expecting a foul there. Wharton just steps in, and it's a bit after the play once Schweitzer gets rid of the ball. But for RGV, they got to build up that right side. It was great. They get Kai Green involved. He connects centrally. But then you see Sheldon Sullivan just hanging out on that left wing. He doesn't get forward, though.
Yeah.
He's a little bit in front of midfield, and when you see Cabrera get on the ball, his only option is to shoot. It gets blocked, and once again, they go forward, and Sullivan doesn't get forward on the left. If he can add into the attack, it opens up that whole side of the field, and it really unlocks it for them to try to build an attack there. But if he doesn't, they're forced to play on this center or right side of the field only.
Numbers for RGV, but it got pushed too far forward ahead of the attack. Aguilar trying to create. Let's take a look at this last attack.
Perea's been really good setting up players, and he didn't play the final ball. It came from Aguilar and hit that touch from a Colorado Springs defender, but Perea's the one who's been pulling strings maybe before the final pass. He's always on the ball and looking to set others up.
A corner kick. Outswinger. Headed up and then headed away. Second touch and cleared by the Switchbacks. Wharton will throw it in. Cabrera was hoping a teammate was behind him. Wharton deflects it forward. And the pressure being applied by the FC Toros. Well, you know at halftime the message was clear from Coach Echeverry. We need 3 points, guys, here on our home pitch.
I honestly want to know exactly how he says it and how he goes about it, because RGV is constantly a different team in the second half. And I don't want to say they're a second half team, but they just come alive more. And if they played the way that they do usually in the second half and coming out of halftime, if they had brought that from the start and brought that for the first half, they would be in a different position.
And they did. have command of possession in the first half, but Switchbacks definitely had the better chances created. Adams. And Donovan. Wharton instructs Donovan to pass to the perimeter. And now back to the center of the field is Jorginho James. Donovan again, trying to inch forward. Good spacing here. And here they come. Sullivan. Aguilar. And James, beautiful passing. Perea, and just out in front of Cabrera.
Ari, that sequence shows what happens when you get another outside back forward. Sullivan got forward, and it was another option for what they were going to do.
Yeah.
The final pass in that sequence was on just a little too heavy. Cabrera couldn't get a final touch, but once again, it's Perea. He's always setting up. It's in the air, so it's a tough one to bring down, especially when you're on the run cutting across. But I love the vision from Pereira because he is constantly looking to feed, whether it's others, the final ball, the one that can put the one who plays the final ball in a great position. He's always there with his eye towards frame.
Schweitzer splitting two defenders. Wharton upset with his teammates. Connor Donovan instructing a couple people too. They're trying to get organized. But then it'll be Suggs with another corner kick opportunity. A beautiful night here in Edinburgh. Suggs the outswinger. And headed away by Todd Wharton. Out of Glen Allen, Virginia. Some space. Hanlon. His cross kicked out. Hanlon chucks it in. Aguilar with some open field and gets the return pass from Kai Green. Many of the crowd on their feet, hoping their team can take the lead here as we approach the 65th minute. 2-1 was the final in the first meeting between these two teams in April up in Colorado Springs. And here comes Sullivan to the middle of the field. Pass deflected and kicked out by Tomby. Now J.J. Tomby out of Cameroon has been in the right place at the right time tonight for Colorado Springs. James launches from distance, but that's broken up by Schweitzer. James challenging Suggs. You can hear Colorado Springs say, "Get forward, guys." This is Maben. And the whistle blows.
One thing we haven't seen often from RGV, especially in the second half, is settling for shots. And that last build-up, one of their better ones, they were quick in transition. They got numbers forward. The ball pops out to James, and he settles for a shot. First off, way from distance, but also when a defender is directly in front of him. But you see what happens. He took that, it closed down, and then Colorado Springs quickly is able to counter. Those are moments when the decision-making has to be better because James has to know it's best for his team if he lays that ball off or even if he goes back. Because if he loses that ball, he's pushed his team forward, and he's really the one, almost the valve that stops it. So if he loses the ball, it's wide open, and Colorado Springs can just attack that midfield.
There's Aguilar. Wharton. Beautiful pass back to Aguilar, and his shot is blocked. But it will result in a corner kick. Tomby to get a piece again. That was excellent. efficiency and productivity by the Toros there. They will send in another substitute. Small will come in. Small replaces Wilmer Cabrera. Set pieces. Keeps it low. It got through, but no red shirt there. Able to keep it in with Sullivan. To his left, serves it in. The shot, and what a save by Plotty. So close as Small just came in and almost put it in the back of the net.
Small made up for that first opportunity because he almost leaned his body way too far that it took his foot out of the ability of being able to finish that one. He leaned too far forward, so he wasn't able to connect. But that response on the second opportunity was exactly what it needed to be, especially just coming in. That is what Small just did, is what being a spark as a sub is. That's what you need to do, especially coming in as a forward and needing to change the game. Stepped in and was able to connect, especially on that second one. When the first ball was sent in, he didn't need to go to ground. If he stayed on his feet, he could have connected with that. Yet he stays with the play. He was able to recycle his run. And Wharton sees him, played this ball directly to Small. Once again, though, he leaves his feet. If he stayed, he could connect with that right foot.
And get more on it, yeah. A beautiful service by Wharton. Wharton was close to having his third assist of the season. Todd came in with 34 key passes. Very accurate passer, 88% accuracy to be exact.
Todd Wharton is such a huge part of this team. I mean, really runs the midfield, tends to lead the team in most categories, especially touches and passes and passing accuracy. He is one of the best passers in the league. His vision, he hasn't had as much of an impact in this game, especially wasn't really involved in the first half. We normally see a bit more from him, but he is one of those players that really has a good vision and pulls the strings for RGV.
There's Hanlon. Center of the field, pass and a shot is well high and wide. Get away from the switchbacks and Mabin a little bit. Martin with 3 goals all with his right foot this season. Now the substitution here in the 69th minute. It's hot out there. And it looks like Mabin's night is finished, as Shane Malcolm will enter the pitch. Malcolm, a player that can spark the switchbacks. Morgan, he has 4 goals and 4 assists. And we'll take a look at the last opportunity, which got off of the foot of Mabin.
And that's the danger of RGV sending numbers forward, because Colorado Springs was able to pick the ball off, and look how quickly they got forward. It's a nice slip ball through on the ball. Hanlon looks like he's going to keep it and looks to his right, and that little look right throws off the defender, which then he was able to find Mabin.
Quintanilla being bodied by Tomby. Draws the foul. There comes Aldo. Able to shift speeds so easily. And a counter opportunity. Sam Hamilton. Jordy Burt fouled from behind. That will go on Jorginho James.
Aguilar winning for the first tackle, and then you see James get his arm in and really try to hold back. It looked like he was able to kind of hop over the feet of Burt, but he ended up clipping him from behind, which is why that was called. But James knew with his body positioning he had to be careful. He was stuck behind Burt. Burt's first touch set him up in a really good way, cut off James, and he knew that he had to be careful, but still ended up clipping him.
Yeah, there's Suggs. Dangerous in set pieces.
he's been here before against RGV. Put the first goal in against them in the first meeting. Similar area on a set piece.
That's Shane Malcolm also standing over the ball. Will it be Suggs? It is. Put on, and it hit the crossbar. What a strike from Suggs. And RGV fortunate.
Nelson has been so good tonight, but if that was a couple inches lower, there's nothing he would have been able to do with that one. Suggs connects so well. There's no way Malcolm's going to hit this ball. You know Suggs is going to run up with his left foot. It's a beautifully struck free kick. Just can't get that one to go. RGV has to be careful, though, especially towards the end of the game. They've been so strong defensively. Right now, they can't have any mental lapses that gives Colorado Springs a free look on frame.
Waddy. Yeah, that shot Suggs very reminiscent of the goal he scored against RGV earlier in the season. Good run there by Aguilar. Well, he's played with a ton of energy here tonight. Pablo has. Ooh, heavy collision there. And moving forward, Hanlon. Terrific job by Sheldon Sullivan. Get back on his feet and able to disrupt that pass.
It's a fantastic recovery. He was lucky he wasn't called on that first one. Referee played advantage because that was a late tackle. You could tell he started to drop as a defender and then realized he needed to go. And at that point, it was too late. He reacted too slowly, but a great recovery for him to track back and to cover ground and to get down for the slide as well.
Yeah, he got up instantly. There's Malcolm, very shifty to his right, and then denied by Sheldon Sullivan.
Yes, we do. No problem.
There's Suggs from the corner again. He boots these in with terrific precision. The in swinger headed up and headed away. Denied by RGV. There's Robinson. Served into the box, and all alone standing there was Suggs, but it was just out of his reach.
Suggs stayed wide once he hit that corner and then found his way back in. And that's really the closest we've seen him to frame in the run of play. He's been lethal on free kicks against RGV, just had another really good opportunity. But he snuck back in from that corner, and RGV didn't account for him. They didn't see him on that far side.
Oh, we talked about that shot by Suggs, reminiscent of his first goal. We actually have that here. We're going to take a look at Suggs's goal he scored earlier in the season off set pieces. Wharton moving forward. But broken up. Aguilar has it back. No whistle there as Quintanilla was dropped to the turf. The crowd staying alive here at RGV. We're scoreless. You know, when these two teams get together, you figure one goal should take it. RGV fourth in the Western Conference in clean sheets on the season. Adams and Sullivan. Small in pursuit. We're in the 76th minute. 5-match unbeaten streak for RGV. They've only lost once all season on their home pitch. But they need W's. They need points.
defensively, RGV starting to get stretched out a bit. They still have their defensive lines, but players are getting stretched horizontally, and there's more spaces for Colorado Springs to find those seams.
Here's Hanlon. On the trail, it's Schweitzer. Schweitzer moving to his left. Pass to the perimeter. This is Sam Hamilton, selected 15th overall in the 2007 Super Draft by the Rapids. So back in April, a very similar set piece Josh Suggs had up in Colorado Springs.
He's on that right side of the field. This one stayed low. He's able to sneak into that far post. But then earlier, just a couple minutes ago, you see another opportunity that he gets on that right side. This one is actually struck into that upper 90 area. If you're RGV, it's so difficult to think about, but you got to limit other teams' strengths. And one of the strengths of Colorado Springs and of Josh Suggs is his service, especially on set pieces on that right side of the box. So they have to be aware of that and limit those opportunities, which comes down to decision making and being smart around the 18, because you know if he gets a look on frame or if he gets an opportunity, it's going to be a well-struck ball.
So there's your sub right now. Luke Vercoloni out of Pembroke, Massachusetts, replaces Karsten Hanlon. Vercoloni, 4 goals, 1 assist. He recently returned from a hamstring injury. We'll have the last sub coming in for the Toros, but Vercoloni made his comeback appearance Wednesday in San Antonio, returning from a hamstring injury. So good to see him healthy enough to play again here Saturday. So it'll be Enriquez. They call him Chewy, dual citizenship between Mexico and U.S. 3 goals, 2 assists. Get Enriquez out there as they look for a spark.
And he's the player that they want to put in for that. He's so quick on the ball, really good 1v1, but his work rate, especially towards the end of the game, Enriquez is that spark. And by bringing out James, it's not that he did poorly. They just need more of an attacking threat. So they're taking off a defensive presence and bringing in a player and looking to go more 3 up top with 3 dynamic, different players.
So now they have Quintanilla and Enriquez in a combination that Coach Trichu was fearful of. He said those two work very efficiently together. A collision there between Hamilton, between Tomby and Quintanilla. Gets a pat on the back from JJ. He clipped him.
But that ball sent in is so dangerous. If Quintanilla can take a step to his left and get his body even more in there, it'll be called for a foul.
Ooh, Adams just getting ahead on that. Otherwise, the Switchbacks had a terrific opportunity. Quintanilla battling here in the 80th minute. We remain scoreless. Good work by Enriquez, but poked away. Again, Tomby was there. JJ not getting up off of the ground. Collision and a foul will go on Malcolm. Shane Malcolm out of Lauderhill, Florida. Part of the Guam national team. Malcolm has 20 caps with the Guam national team.
Sullivan just gets his leg taken out. Malcolm continues to run through the ball. Sullivan has already poked the ball out, and at that point just takes all of the momentum from Malcolm. But RGV has to be careful, and they hope Sullivan's okay because they don't have any more subs to make. So if Sullivan can't continue, they have to go down a man. And right now, with the subs that they just made, they don't want to have to play down a man because they're really trying to push after this game.
Yeah, so Sheldon Sullivan has to get up, and he does. He's been sent to the turf a number of times. There's J.J. Tomby A player from Cameroon. Much needed hydration, little stoppage here in the 81st minute. Again, heat index about 105 at game time. So it's all the way down to 100. So what relief, huh? 105 to 100. It's like a cold front.
It's unbelievable. It's so difficult to play in that, especially in a high pressure, high tempo game. And this second half has really been a lot of that with RGV pushing at the Colorado Springs back line. They've had to absorb a lot of pressure, but also there's been a lot of transitions, especially for Colorado Springs. When they win the ball and pick off RGV, they're going quickly. So their players are gassed right now. And they played a midweek game.
Well, the fans enjoying some quesadillas. Oh, that looks delicious. Coach Trichu looking on, hoping that Tomby is okay. Jamal Jack, he was actually doing some training work. He does it all, Jamal. Yeah, we can look at the Western Conference standings again just to show you where these two teams are. I'm looking at the food trucks back there, but we'll go to the standings.
And for Colorado Springs, if they can get a point, they're still within reach for that 8th place spot. RGV, though, points are always helpful, but they can't keep relying on getting a point. They have to get more, because at that point, they're just slowly trying to inch their way up, and they're really relying on other teams to struggle. But they have a lot of ground to cover, so they have to start getting that offensive side to click.
Here's Small battling. To his left, a strike and a goal. There it is. Pablo Aguilar with a strike and a score. His second goal of the season. Well, Aguilar, well-deserved, Morgan. He has been all over the field tonight. Relentless activity.
Aguilar is able to slip in. You see him at the top of the box. He keeps his run going. He sees where he isn't the best option, and then he pulls out to his left, which allows the ball to play in front of him so he can get that ball on his left foot. If he stayed tight and narrow, he wouldn't have been able to get a shot there. He didn't have to take an extra touch to move the ball. His movement allowed the ball to roll across so he could then just go straight to goal.
So RGV on the board behind Pablo Aguilar, the Guatemalan, with his second goal of the season. And that's a big one for Coach Echeverry and the FC Toros. They needed that one as they are determined to come away with 3 points here tonight.
And you could feel that RGV was close to getting one, especially when those subs came in. There was that extra spark, and it helped adding an extra attacker. Granted, they lost the defensive presence of James, but they don't need it at that moment. They needed an extra attacker, and they were so busy and took the Colorado Springs defenders, they took their attention, that it allowed Aguilar to find the pocket and to really squeeze forward.
Okay, now Amueco able to come on the field, pressuring again of the FC Toros. So Nicholas Amueco out of Ghana is able to check into the game as he replaces Tomby. JJ was struggling with cramping before.
And it also allows Colorado Springs to make another attacking substitution. We saw RGV do it, and Colorado Springs brings off a center back, and a center back who was struggling a little bit just because he was tired and had that cramping. So he wasn't able to play like he normally is. He was hurting a bit. So they bring him off and then add that attacking threat. So how does RGV respond to that? They still have 4 in the back. I wouldn't be surprised to see Wharton drop even deeper, to see the rest of the midfield drop deeper, because Colorado Springs is going to put that pressure on for the final 4.5, 5 minutes.
Waco made his debut recently on July 14th. He was signed by the Switchbacks on July 11th. 6'3", 20 years old out of Ghana. So RGV now with a 1-0 lead. Robinson Has been able to create numerous chances, particularly more so in the first half. And here's Sam Hamilton. Shane Malcolm, a big-time playmaker. That ball gets through. The cross denied again by Adams, who has had a sensational second half.
You don't always see center backs get caught in 1v1 challenges, but we've seen Donovan and Adams respond when they were called and just step 1v1, and they've done so well closing space against attackers that tend to like the ball wide and tend to be really good 1v1 out wide. They've pulled out the center backs, but the center backs have responded.
Kyle Adams, we're going to see his work again.
And he's asked to go 1v1. He has to come over a little bit from the central area. Normally you see an outside back there, but Adams shuts down his attacker and then is able to clear the ball out even further. It doesn't give up a corner. I've been extremely impressed with the way that those center backs have covered ground and really stood up and stayed strong 1v1.
Yeah, I agree. They have been really impressive. There's Malcolm. Malcolm gets it back on the edge of the box. His cross is saved by Michael Nelson right out front of his line.
You could see when Malcolm came in, he was ready to be a spark as well. And he gets the ball and just makes stuff happen, plays the entry ball. You see the patience from Sam Hamilton, and Malcolm continues his run. And it really forces RGV. They're unorganized, and they're trying to switch and find their runners, but Malcolm is just able to run circles around those RGV defenders. The cross doesn't come off, but that's trouble. RGV has to be careful. Only a couple minutes left. If they want these 3 points, if they want that third win, it has to be tighter.
Shane Malcolm, dangerous playmaker, 4 goals, 4 assists. The Guam national team player. Quintanilla to his right, finds space and launches wide right. Excellent effort by Aldo.
And what Quintanilla did that was so small is he took an extra touch before he shot it, which first off puts his defender off balance, and it gains him more space.
Michael Nelson will take his time. There should be about 4 minutes of stoppage time, Morgan. But nothing appears to worry Michael Nelson. He just doesn't get rattled, does he? A young goalie, Michael Nelson, out of SMU. He was a 3-time American Conference Goalkeeper of the Year. His first season as a professional, and again, the 20th overall selection this year by the Houston Dynamo.
He even stopped that ball when Donovan, it was out, but he accidentally hit it towards him and almost went in the back of his own net. I mean, what we've seen for Michael Nelson, he's been outstanding.
Yeah.
He's picked his team up when they needed him. He's been quick in reactions, and you just see the way he owns the box in certain moments. There was a couple times where I think he should have come off his line and should have held it, and he let his defenders get the ball. But Nelson has been so strong in the back, and when you look at this RGV team, the goalkeeping core that they have, Nico Cortez, sometimes their normal starter, he's not playing right now, obviously, because of Nelson. And the two of them, and they also have another goalkeeper as well, they're just pushing one another and making each other better.
Yeah, it's been a terrific, very solid season of goalkeeping and defense. Again, we reiterate that the issue has been goal scoring, as they come in 17 goals last in the USL. But it's coming. I mean, Coach Echeverry has been very pleased with the progress. Ball movement has improved. And they've got about 4 minutes here to hold on to this 1-0 lead. That's served in and out of his box to claim it, just as you were talking about, Morgan. Michael Nelson, very aggressive that time.
Nelson needed to be, because on that far side, you see 2 Colorado Springs players putting their hands up in the air, wanting that ball served to the far post, Green sees them and tries to account for them, but he hears Nelson coming off his line. He hears that he's coming out, and Green kind of just dips out. So Nelson had to win that ball because there were 2 players there that were hungry for it, and they were open.
And the fans loving it here at HEB Park in Edinburgh. We are in stoppage time. 1-0 is a late goal scored by RGV to take this 1-0 lead. Pablo Aguilar with his 2nd goal of the season. The only point up on the scoreboard here tonight. Terrific pass. And the strike, and saved by the defender. Small struck it right on the nose, but terrific recovery by Taylor Hunter.
First off, the work from Enriquez on the corner to keep that ball in, and then the vision to know that that ball needs to go wide to Small. His first touch lets him down, though. It's popping in the air. He still connected well with it, but well done from Taylor Hunter on his old home field to be able to get a touch there and clear that off the line, because it was still struck with pace. It was finding that far post, and Hunter did what he needed to do, which is covering the goal, working back centrally to cover.
Another chance created, Small, as that one sailed across the goalie box. Well, Small has certainly been in the mix since coming off the sideline for Coach Echeverry. There's Schweitzer as the Switchbacks running out of time here. RGV. Sullivan. Enriquez. And here's Hamilton. To the corner, the dangerous Shane Malcolm. And splits 2 defenders all the way in, but saved. Michael Nelson was there as Waco was making his run and charge towards the goal. As the Aguilar getting up slowly, grabbing at his left hamstring. Very dangerous here. Look at the youngster from Ghana.
And Waco is able to get past 4 RGV defenders. You hear Colorado Springs calling for a handball. Aguilar drops central, but it's his chest. It's not his arm that hits that ball. But Nelson goes down for the slide with his leg, yet also covers with his body, so he's able to get a touch there. He saved his team, because that was a dangerous opportunity for Colorado Springs. All from Waco, being able to break down that RGV defense.
And Michael Nelson again covers this up and holds on as we are approaching the end of this one. And there it is, the final whistle. RGV FC Toros has won their 3rd match of the season, all here at home at HEB Park, as they win it with a late Pablo Aguilar goal, 1-0. Michael Nelson, his 3rd clean sheet of the season in just 4 appearances. Perfect again here tonight.
RGV getting 2 wins in a couple weeks. They only have 3 on the whole season. Their first win coming in earlier in the season, late March or early April. So they're a team right now that they needed to build off their defensive strength and their defensive presence, and now they're starting to get that final piece. They have that extra bite. If they can have that second half mentality in the first half, they're going to find more positive 3-point results. That's just how it is, because they're a team that they build confidence as the game goes on. They get a little bit better, but this team right now, they have the winning bug.
Yeah, they are really building confidence. And you called it, Morgan. You said that they had much more kind of hop in their step, intensity, and that free-flowing offense. And look at the results. We'll take a look at the highlights of this one. 1-0 our final. First half, the Switchbacks with some terrific opportunities.
And early on, it was a lot of Colorado Springs, and it was a lot of subs. His service getting sent in on the corners. RGV had difficulty in terms of marking in the box. Jamal Jack with that header clear on frame. That was really one of the first times we saw Michael Nelson, and we saw a lot of Michael Nelson in goal, stepping up for RGV. Another opportunity, he gets a touch. That one was going into the far post. He has to come off his line, stretches out for the touch because it's a really nice ball played across from Burt. He slides off, finds a little pocket in the box, beats the center backs of RGV, and then it takes Nelson to bail him out.
And again, Suggs out of the corner. Number of chances there, deflecting out in front.
And this was one of the times that we didn't see Nelson own his box because players were getting in his way, which is great where the defenders were, but he should be the one winning that because if he can maintain possession, then none of the other chances happen. But throughout the half, it just got better. And then for RGV on the other end, a lot of opportunities, and a lot of them came from Wilmer Cabrera. Working off the ball, his first touch set him up beautifully on this one. Trying to combine, Jorginho James getting involved as well, but they can't get it to go. To work off the ball from Cabrera. He has the ball initially, then plays the second one, and then keeps his run going. He's hungry and he wants to create.
Yeah, he is a fun player to watch. The crowd's going to love him.
The 1v1 defending from RGV was so good. They would get numbers behind, but this save coming out, I mean, getting forward is Suggs, and he started this whole thing with the ball that was sent in. He keeps his run going, and that connection with his left foot, so lethal. That left foot when he gets forward, RGV was lucky on that one. And then on the other end, Todd Wharton. This was one of the best opportunities before the goal. Small comes in, gets forward, has an opportunity, leaves his feet so he doesn't connect well, but then he peels off, keeps his run going, recycles his run, and then gets in behind again. He splits the defenders, but he leaves his feet once again. If he can stay on his feet, he'll be able, first off, to focus and see the connection, but also have more power when he hits it.
Well, that was a big save by Plotty. And Suggs there almost gave his team the lead.
And almost the same exact goal that we saw from him in the first meeting between these two teams. Beautiful connection. He sees that far post. He hits it well, just gets under it a little bit too much.
And then late in the second half.
What I love about this goal is that Aguilar saw it coming. He sees the spaces, he gets forward, and when that ball squeezes out, he moves his body so well. His little touch forward, and then he pulls out his run so he can hit that ball. He takes a little tiny touch to set it up, but he didn't have to do much. Just a little tiny touch, and then he's able to finish. It's not like he's dribbling and creating at the top of the box. His body movement allowed that to be the most simple finish possible for him.
Second goal of the season for Aguilar, and a big one for RGV. And they almost scored again.
And a lot of that was from the subs that came in. All of those players that touched that ball were subs. Quintanilla, Chuy Enriquez, and then on the other side, Small. The ball falls all the way through, but Small's first touch is poor. It bounces up, still gets a good connection, but a huge save on the line from Taylor Hunter against his former team.
So here's our match stats. Shots end up even in this one. And again, the Toros hold on to possession edge.
I mean, I don't think we thought that we would see these shots based on the first half. These two teams came alive coming out of the locker room in the second half. Shots on target for RGV, not great compared to their shots, but for a team that struggles to score, seeing 4 shots on target, that's a pretty good stat for them.
So Suggs and the Switchbacks couldn't get on the board with terrific chances in the first half. And it's the RGV FC Toros coming up with a second half goal to win it. Their next game at Las Vegas, that is August 4th. And for Colorado Springs, their next game, Oklahoma City. For Morgan Conklin, I'm Ari Shannock. Thanks for watching, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.